Larry, don't say that word.
They say put your money where your mouth is.
But in this case, we're going to challenge you to put your mouth where your money is. The words that come out of your mouth can dramatically change your financial future and meeting financial goals or not meeting them.
If you don't know us, I'm Larry.
And I'm Hope.
We're from Under the Median, where every week we bring you videos on practical frugality.
We went through our memory bank of things that we have uttered about our finances and came up with 20 things that you really should not say about budgeting or money. And then stick with us because toward the end of the video, we're going to share with you 10 things that you should be saying about budgeting and finances.
The first one that we don't recommend that you say is, we're broke.
We caveat that by saying sometimes when we are working hard toward a financial goal and one or the other of us wants to spend money, we'll go, remember, we're broke. That is a positive use of this phrase. We're talking about the negative use of this phrase, which says we're broke and we were always going to stay broke. That is the problematic statement.
We can't stick to a budget.
Problem might not be the budget. It might be the fact that you've not given the budget long enough to work. We tell people 3 to 6 months before you sort of get all the kinks worked out of any budget. And it could be that you just don't have your money allocated in accordance with how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. But yes, you can stick to a budget. And yes, the alternative is also true. Budgets do work.
And it also might be true that you're not working as hard as you should be on that budget to stick to it. It takes a lot of hard work to do it. It takes a lot of persistence, patience, planning. So give yourself some time and make that budget work.
Credit for this next one goes to our good friends, the Buchanans. And the statement you should not say is, that won't work.
The reason why they chose not to say this is if they're discussing some plans or ideas or even something financial, and the other one just says, that won't work. Well, that closes out any possibility for negotiation or conversation about it. Rather, they'll say, that's a great idea, and they'll explore the idea to see if they can make it work. And if not, then they'll throw it out. But they don't just start out with, that won't work.
Statement number 4. We will always be poor.
That is a statement of resignation. You're resigning yourself to something that you really don't want. If you say that we're always going to be poor, then you're probably not going to work on ways to get out of that condition.
This next one, Larry has been known to utter. We will always have a car loan.
In our early years of marriage, we weren't making a great deal of money, just a little bit over minimum wage, and we were both paying on cars. And I just didn't see any way that we could get ahead, pay off those cars, and then pay the next car with cash. It seemed insurmountable. But there are ways to do everything.
Statement number 6. My partner will take care of our finances.
In our case, one of us is a lot better at doing finances than the other. So I like to let Hope do the majority of the work of the planning, of putting together the budget, of dividing up the categories. She's really good at it, and frankly, she loves doing it. I come alongside and support her. We discuss things. We might make adjustments to it. I might look at something and say, I don't think that's quite enough money in that part of the budget. Let's look at see if we can take from one and move it into the other, but we'll discuss it. But really, Hope is much better at this than I am.
In short, there's always going to be one person in any relationship that's a little bit better with the facts and figures. But any relationship should be an equalitarian relationship. And that means each of you gets an equal say.
I've heard different friends say this little phrase, and that's, I'll always have Social Security, meaning that they're kind of relying on a third entity to take care of all of their financial woes.
Statement number 8, we will always have a mortgage. This is like the great big brother to the we will always have a car loan, because a mortgage by its nature is much, much larger generally than a car loan is. But if you have a mortgage, you get no shade from us because we took out a mortgage on our first home.
Sure.
But I think you always should be looking toward ways that you can pay that mortgage off and pay it off early. About 90% of the time, it makes perfect sense to go ahead and pay a mortgage off early.
Here's another thing we've been saying that we don't think you should say. we can never lower our cell phone bill.
I think we can all agree that a cell phone plan is indeed less every month than either your mortgage or your car loan. However, I think we'd also all agree that cell phone service has become really vitally important to all of us in this day and age, which is why I'm really glad you brought that up, because Mint Mobile is our partner for this video. We are definitely a Mint family. I was the first one to get Mint in the family, followed by Larry, followed by 3 out of our 4 sons. We're able to manage everybody's account in one easy-to-use hub. They call it Mint Modern Family. You can use Mint Modern Family with as few as 2 or as many as 5 people. When I switched to Mint, it took me 15 minutes to get set up. Yes, I got to keep my previous cell phone number. We've been really happy with Mint's coverage. They have the nation's largest 5G network. We get unlimited talk and text, and we also get some mobile hotspot data with that every month. So Mint's 5G plan has been perfect for us, $15 a month. But if you're thinking, I really kind of need more data than that, Mint has a really great offer right now you might want to take advantage of. It's a limited time offer. Right now, new customers can try out any of their cell phone plans for $15 a month, and that's for 3 months. That even includes their generous unlimited plan, which is normally $30 a month, so that's a 50% savings right there. To get started, it's easy to do. You see that QR code right between us. You want to click on that QR code. You can also use our very special link. It's right down there at the bottom of your screen, and that is mintmobile.com/under the median. We'll also have a clickable link all the way at the top of the description of this video.
We can't do this.
Oh, goodness. That is a self-defeatist attitude. If you go into any challenge thinking, I'm going to try, but I'll probably fail, then you probably will fail. You have to go into any challenge saying, you know what? I'm going to do this.
I just wondered what Dave Ramsey would say about that kind of a statement. That statement to me says, I don't want to do this, not that we can't do this.
You can't beat the system. I think that statement is giving more authority in our financial lives to outside entities than it really should. It doesn't matter if you're saying that the laws are going to change your financial future, that inflation is, that any other entity outside of you yourself is going to change that. That's giving too much power to whoever or whatever that is.
You can't keep up with the rising prices.
Here's the truth. Prices are always going to ebb and flow. And for the most part, once prices go up, they're really not going to come back down very much. It happens. It's happened over the course of time, and it will continue to happen. Your job is to not figure out whether prices are going to go up. Yep, they probably will. Your job is to figure out what your response is going to be in relation to those rising prices. We just did a really good video that kind of dovetails into this really nicely. It was all about what we keep, which is called our what if list. We look at areas in our budget where prices are going up, and we routinely say, all right, what will we do if they go up 20%? How about 40%? How about 50%? What is our response to that rise in prices going to be? What that allows us to do is to have a list that's handy. So when the prices go up, we go, wait a minute, what's on our list? What are we going to try next? It gives you sort of a toolbox that you can dip into and grab some more tools out of. We're going to leave a link to that video. You might find it super helpful if the rising prices are driving you absolutely batty and you're thinking, I just can't keep up. I think that will be helpful. We'll leave the video link up above and in the description of this video.
It kind of reminds me just a little bit, if I can just throw a little analogy in here. What do you do when it gets warmer outside? Oh, it's going to be hot outside. The temperature is going to rise. Well, we have things that we put in place. There's things like iced tea, air conditioning, swimming pools, and you have to find alternatives in finances in order to cope with things like rising prices.
Number 12, there will never be enough.
Sometimes I think we have to realize, well, what is enough?
Yep.
I think we all have quite a bit in our toolbox to deal with what we have or don't have. Most Americans have a plethora of things, probably more than we really need. And as far as money goes, there's always ways to make adjustments and to do different things to make the ends meet.
Number 13, yes, we've uttered this phrase. Let's pretend we didn't just spend that money. I should preface it by saying it's been a long time, but we had a real budget category. This is like Hope and Larry trivia that you didn't think you'd ever know. We had a real budget category at one point called I don't know what I was thinking. And it was our cop-out category for spending money that we knew we didn't have the money to spend. There you go.
We didn't try to overuse that category, by the way. I just can't manage my money.
If you don't take the time and effort to figure out how to manage your money is always going to be managing you.
Yes.
You have to decide who is the boss, who's in charge, and that should be you.
We don't need a plan for the future. The future will take care of itself.
Oh my goodness. We have friends who really say that kind of stuff. And it is perhaps true that we are a little bit too detail oriented at times about the plans we have in place for the future and thinking maybe a little bit too much about it. We own that. But there is, however, such a thing as not planning and not thinking long and hard enough about the future. Future's going to get here whether you wish it away or whether you don't. And you need to think about what you're going to do.
There are certain knowns that the future will present.
Sure.
One is eventually you'll retire. Somewhere down in your future, you're probably going to need some money for health causes. There are just certain things in the future that are definitely going to present itself. You can see that by looking at other people's lives. So it's always good to plan and not let the future, so to speak, just take care of itself.
Wasn't it Ben Franklin? I think it was. Somebody will tell me if I'm right or wrong. That uttered the famous phrase, there are two things in life that are certain, death and taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, we think there's a few more things that are pretty certain than that, but there you go. You get the general idea.
We don't need written goals.
We don't need no written goals. I don't know why that seems like something you would say like in a Western movie or something. You know, you got the people riding horseback going, we don't need no stinking goals.
I think of Back to the Future where the doc says, roads, we don't need roads.
Yes, yeah, that's kind of what it is. All right, yes, you need written goals. We're just going to put it out there. Why? You not only need the goals written, but you need to track your progress on the goals because there is a huge percentage chance that you're going to reach those goals if you do those two simple things. Write the goal down, track your progress. You're going to meet it far, far, far more often than if you don't do those two things.
Having no written goals is like going out target shooting without a target.
Oh, I like that. Does everybody else love Larry's analogies as much as I do? Tell him in the comment section. I think he does great analogies. Statement number 17, we'll never be able to afford that. Now, if we are, let's say we are up on Grandview Drive, which is the most expensive place to live where we're at.
Multi-million-dollar homes.
And we're looking at a multi-million-dollar home going, we'll never be able to afford that. That is probably truth. But here's the problem with the statement. We allow ourselves to utter and believe that statement about things which are actually within our grasp. We just haven't figured out a path to get from point A to point Z. I will remind you, I digress to tease Larry about his statement of we will always have a car payment. He truly believed that. And until I showed him on paper, here's where we're at, here's where we want to go, here's the steps in between, that he realized that maybe we really didn't have to allow that statement to dictate our future.
So can I save up for my Rolls Royce now?
Very, very, very old one with a lot of miles on it and maybe no wheels.
We have money, so let's spend it.
You sound like Larry the Cucumber when you say it that way. We have made this mistake. And we've mentioned this before on the channel. If you're just saving money and you have that great big green pile of cash and there's no reason for that cash to be there, like there's no name on it that says this is for the house down payment or this is to pay down the car more quickly or this is going to pay off our Visa card. If you've not given that dollar a job to do, if I can, coin a term from Dave Ramsey and steal it, then you're going to spend that money. And we've done it. We had a great big pile of cash and went, we should buy a really, really good, really new van with very low mileage. We should never have been spending the money that way. Make sure your dollars have a name to them.
The deck is stacked against us, so we can't win.
Yeah, once again, here's the problem with that statement. A lot of times you're not in control of the deck. Let's just admit it. Those of us who are like normal, average, everyday people, we don't have control over inflation. We don't have control over rising prices. We don't have control over government decisions that are made. We don't, God knows in America, we don't have control over our taxes for the most part. We can't control those things. And when you make a statement like the deck is stacked against us and we can't win, once again, that's giving all the authority to these entities that are outside of you. And I think, it's almost like the serenity prayer. You have to figure out what you can control and what you can't. What you can control is your reaction to what's being done and what's been put in front of you, and what you do to react to that.
I've actually heard this one come from other people. We don't need an emergency fund. I have a credit card.
Oh my goodness. Your credit card is not your emergency fund.
Never.
We're just going to say that. Number 20, we'll just charge it and charge it and charge it and charge it. You get the idea. Look, your credit card, ignoring that credit card debt, that's a costly mistake. Those credit card bills add up faster than you can ever imagine. It's like an exponential curve, guys. Pay off your credit cards. Get out of debt.
When you're charging something, really all you're doing is that you're just pushing that payment out to the future. Somewhere along the line, the two are going to meet and you're going to get caught up on that. I think this is a really big one. This is number 22. We have plenty of time to save for retirement. Now, Hope and I are guilty of this one.
Yeah.
We put this one off. Part of why we put this one off is we had so many very urgent goals in our earlier married life. We were trying to save up for a house. We had young kids. We had a lot of responsibilities. And retirement just seemed so far out in the future. We didn't see any importance in saving up. But if you start saving up for your retirement when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, you'll be amazed at how well you'll be able to retire.
Having said that, if you're in your 40s or your 50s and you still don't have retirement savings put away, there's a lot that you can do between now and retirement to build yourself a nice little nest egg between now and then.
Remember, now is always the best time to start.
So what should you be saying about your finances and your budgeting? Number 1, you should say, where is the solution in that statement?
The idea there is to constantly look for solutions. Yes, it's okay to address a problem. We have to face problems, but don't focus on just the problem. Start looking at solutions. What can we do about this? What are the areas that we can make adjustments in, or what do we need to do? And as you're looking for solutions, there might be way more than just one. There might be 2 or 3. So we always like to have a main solution and then maybe a plan B or a plan C in case plan A doesn't work. But look for a solution.
The next thing that you should be saying, I am capable. I am woman. Hear me roar. Just saying.
Helen ready. I love it. Yeah, the idea there is that you need to have confidence in your own abilities to be able to work things out. And you'd be surprised at what you've got in your own toolbox that you can do to solve these financial problems.
Positive statement number 3, I am willing to work hard for the changes that I need to make and the goals that I need to meet.
And I think that's a real key to getting there, is being able and willing to do the hard work. There's nothing on this earth that isn't worthwhile that did not take a great deal of work. What if Edison had given up at the 9,999th try on developing the light bulb? We wouldn't have had light for maybe a number of years later. The idea is, don't give up.
There would be no studio lights. You would not see us. Trust me, television needs lighting.
I can learn new things. There is a plethora of information out there on how to do things, how to structure your budget, how to handle finances. We have a lot on this channel that can help you as to what Hope and I have done to make it work for us. But the idea is there's always a solution out there if you're looking for it.
Speaking of things on this channel, would you do us a favor? Make sure you subscribe to Under the Median if you're finding this information helpful, and scroll up, will you guys, and hit that thumbs up button. Hit the like button on this video. That helps us with YouTube.
This is kind of an old phrase, but I think it's an accurate one. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if you're willing to do something, you'll find a way. I find that as I look for a solution to a problem that I maybe don't have a solution for, as I look hard enough, I might find not just one solution, but several different solutions for it.
This next one's sort of interesting too. If I am willing to put effort into it, solutions will come my way.
Yeah, they seem to come as we're looking for them. It's like when you're driving down a road and you need the right direction. The direction can come to you through different sources. There's a lot of different ways that we can find ways and means to meet problems. Some of them is just maybe mentioning it to some other people. Talk to others and see if they don't have an idea that they can give you. We're all going through life together, and sometimes some of the older people have been through exactly where you're at, and they can give you some good tips on what to do.
Statement number 7. We are big on this one. What is my plan B?
So if plan A fails, you've got a backup to go to.
Sometimes we even have plan C and plan D. I think when our oldest son went through college, he went through college debt free. He got major scholarships, I will say, but he paid part of his way through. And I remember him coming home on break once, and I helped him figure out plan A, plans B, plan C, and plan D. And he never, what is interesting, because I think it was important for him to be able to see the facts and figures in front of him on paper. I think part of the reason he never ever had to go beyond plan A is because he already knew plan B, C, and D existed, and he wasn't a real fan of plan B, C, or D. But they would have worked, but he wasn't hugely a fan of them. And he was like, I'm going to do everything I can to make plan A work.
Having more plan is just like having a safety net under type wire walkers. They've got something underneath to catch them in case what they're doing doesn't work.
Okay, this next one's fun. And we want to know if you have ever uttered these words, because we have. And the statement is, what would Dave Ramsey say?
Yes. He's pretty direct, shall we say, about the way he approaches problems. But he cuts right to the core of the problems. There's no mincing words with Dave. And so sometimes we'll think, what would Dave do or say in regards to this issue?
Number 9, have I looked at all the alternatives?
And there's always alternatives.
There's always something that you haven't thought of, especially if you get like to where your back's up against a wall, so to speak. It's like, all right, we got nowhere else to go. How am I going to get away from this wall? How am I going to get out of this corner that I'm painted into? Sometimes when that happens, it's when our best ideas occur to us. I think the best example we have of doing this in a consistent basis in our marriage is our 10% challenge. And I know we've talked about it before. We'll give you just the short Reader's Digest version here. That's where you take your budget, you put it in front of you, each of your budget categories. You pick 4 budget categories, you set a timer for 20 minutes, and you brainstorm with your partner ways that you can lower that expense by just 10%. We've had a lot of viewers that actually have gone through this exercise. And one of them wrote and said she saved like $1,200 a year on their budget just by sitting down for that 20 minutes. And she's like, we got more budget categories lined up. We're going to do it again and save even more money. 10% challenge, guys.
Failure is not an option. And I give credit to Gene Krantz of the Apollo Project. He said this during Apollo 13 when it looked like failure was a great possibility. He didn't even consider that an option. And they found ways to get them back alive. Yeah, we know this is number 11, but we just couldn't help ourselves. I refuse to be average.
We just did a video about this recently, about what average is in the United States of America. 78% of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. 6 in 10 cannot afford even a $400 emergency without taking out a loan or looking for alternative ways to pay for that emergency. As I mentioned, we did a whole video on this specific statement of I refuse to be average. Now, if you're looking for more information about that and tips and strategies to help you so that you are not average and you are able to live within your means and save money, we gave a lot of tips in that video. The video is right over there. Give it a look. You'll find it helpful.
That is not hot enough. I need to warm this up just a minute.
Okay. Take your time.
No problem.
You never think anything's hot enough.
I think you're hot enough.